It has been a super successful year for the Switch and a super successful year for its software as well. But there's a few games that have released and have reached our Switch that we kind of regret buying. And we're here to tell you what games those are and why. What's going on, everybody? It's Zach from Switch Force. Gabe is here, and some of these games may still be really good games, but for us personally, these are the ones we regret putting our coins on and putting onto our memory cards. Let us know in the comments down below if there's any games you regret buying for Switch and why. It's kind of an interesting discussion to have, especially as we start to look to recap the year that was. So, Gabe, I'm going to get right into it with your number one game you regret. I know what it is. I don't even have to ask. Game Gabe regrets most on his Switch is Snake Pass.
Yeah, and I've mentioned it before many times. I do not understand my hatred for Snake Pass, and make no mistake, I do not like the game at all. I also understand that there's a lot of people that do. Zach kind of likes it. I have friends of mine that played it on my Switch and they enjoy it, but I see absolutely no point in collecting all of these things for no reason. At least when the game that I played, I don't know if there's been updates since then or something, but you're literally just collecting everything for no reason whatsoever. The gameplay for me was super clunky. I could never get Noodle to do exactly what I wanted him. I'm assuming it's him. I could never get Noodle to do exactly what I wanted him to do. So just overall, Snake Pass left a very, very bad taste in my hands. And yes, my hands do have taste. That game was definitely not for me.
Gabe got noodled by Noodle, and I can see where you're coming from. You know, it has solid mechanics and a solid idea, but the difficulty in collecting all of the different collectibles is really off-putting when you realize there's not a whole lot of reward except self-satisfaction as far as when we played. I don't think it's a bad game, but this list isn't about bad games. This is about games that we kind of regret getting and giving our time to. And I definitely don't regret Snake Pass as much as Gabe, but I can see where you're coming from. For me, one that I'm going to throw on there is, this one makes me sad because I had really high hopes for it when I saw it in the Nindies Direct, Yono the Celestial Elephants. This game was touted as a Zelda-like with an elephant, and I thought, dang, that is actually a really cool idea, and it had a nifty little art style, a very charming main character. In practice, guys, it's a very, very, very simple and slow Zelda-like, and not a whole lot of challenge, not a whole lot of gameplay, and it really just left me bummed out.
Can I go ahead and recommend a good Zelda-like on Switch, just while you touch on Yono?
Sure.
It'll do too. Pretty fun, and that's really, really Zelda-like. Yono, I played just very, very little. The puzzles are just so simple. I was like, no, this isn't. I'll go play Zelda. I'm good.
Yeah, and there just some the animations are very canned. I don't know. It just felt very not what in a lot of these games for me are in my head. What are they, and then what they actually are, and so I think that's where some of that regret comes. And also, in the case of the next one, maybe they're just flat out bad, Gabe. Rogue Trooper.
Not a good game whatsoever. I was excited because a third-person shooter on Switch that's story-based, and this is a remake of an older game. It's Rogue Trooper Redux or Redo. I don't know how you want to pronounce that. So I never had experience with the series whatsoever. And I got in here and I played it, and it's so terrible. All the NPCs look exactly the same, and I guess the story reasoning for it is that you guys are all clones, and you guys are just generic soldiers, and you're out there doing generic soldier stuff. And the gameplay is so bad. The game looks gross. There's nothing to it to make it stand out. It's just a whole lot of dark colors. A lot of very blue stuff. You're just shooting enemies with, again, generic weapons, generic level design. I was not a fan of this game whatsoever, and I was excited for it, so, it kind of let me down. I regret it.
I definitely did not play Rogue Trooper, but your words told the tale for me. And the next one is, it's nerve-wracking for me to put on this list, but remember, this is not a review list. This is just games that we regret for ourselves, and so mine is going to be... And I hate to say it because this game is great, but the Binding of Isaac Afterbirth Plus, it was $40, and I really love Binding of Isaac, but I guess I thought I loved it enough to play a bunch of it again on Switch, and there was just too much exciting new stuff at the time. There was Breath of the Wild that was an all-encompassing adventure. There was Graceful Explosion Machine and Mr. Shifty and Goner, and indie titles that were, to me, more exciting because of their fresh coat of paint. Binding of Isaac at that price point, while there is a lot of content and it is a phenomenal game, I did regret buying it because it was one that seemed, man, this will be so exciting to take portably with me and have on my Switch and on that nice big screen, and I really never played it.
Yeah, and with this one especially, I do want to reiterate, even though we've done it multiple times, this doesn't mean the games are bad. I love Binding of Isaac, but
Yeah,
I know,
phenomenal game.
yeah, I know I'm not going to play it on Switch, so I didn't even get it. So much time spent on the PC version, it just wasn't going to happen for me. But yeah, still a great game though. If you've never played it, you should definitely check it out.
One game that we did have high hopes for, and we did think may turn the tide for this franchise, was Sonic Forces. But after Gabe played, beat, reviewed, and then played some more, I'm not sure we want to force this one on anyone.
No, and I understand there is rampant Sonic fans that defend everything Sonic. And while it's not unplayable, it's not like a terrible game. It's just so mundane and boring, really. It's really short. You can beat it in like 3.5 hours. And unless you want to go back and collect all the collectibles, there's not a whole lot of replayability. So if you just wanted to play a good Sonic game, Sonic Mania exists for you. I do not regret that one at all. Sonic Forces, though, I spent a lot of time on that game too because I tried to get as 100%, as close to 100% as I could, just because I wanted to review it for the channel and such. And again, I didn't hate the entirety of the game, but by no means is it a good game. Sonic Forces is 100% one you should skip. I'm sure there are better Sonic games out there,
AKA Sonic Mania.
Yeah, and 3D Sonic. There's better 3D Sonic games as well.
Yeah. The next one up is a game that is a port that I enjoyed in its original incarnation and thought would be fun to have portably, but due to performance, and I guess just sometimes ports seem so exciting in concept, and then you play them and you're like, I don't need to play this again. And so that's Lego City Undercover. I thought that was a really fun game on Wii U. I thought it was one of the best Lego games because of the open world and because of the original storyline, not borrowing from any movie or other material. But it really struggled and sluggishly slipped along on the Switch, and I just had no desire to play through the game again, especially in that kind of a compromised state. I don't know, I was pumped because I never beat it on Wii U, so I thought maybe, this would be a great chance to get into it again. It didn't grab me, and it did not help that it was a poor port early on in the Switch life cycle.
And that was the scary thing about the game for me. Just like the port being so shoddy and it being an early one, I figured, oh man, I hope not all ports are going to end up like this. And thankfully, that wasn't the case at all. It was just more a Lego City problem. Of course, the Doom port and Skyrim, all that stuff, turned out really well. But I'm glad this is a Lego City exclusive problem.
And they even seem to have fixed that with Lego Marvel Superheroes 2. So yeah, it was a very localized issue, but it was scary at that time. And I remember there was the weird, it needed to download or just some weird stuff going on with that and putting that in your Switch and trying to get it to play. A lot of load time issues, a lot of laggy, not so hot stuff. And that brings us to the final game on our list, which again, frankly, is a beloved game by a handful of people. But I think for us, Puyo Puyo Tetris has to go on the regret list. And it's personal preference. I'm not the biggest puzzle fan. I tried it out because there were so many rave reviews and so much confidence behind this, what do you call it? This crossover idea of Puyo Puyo and Tetris. And in theory, I like the idea of that. In practice, I don't know. I played it a little. I was put off by the very cutesy Japanesey storyline and characters, and it didn't grab me, and I'm sad that I spent the full amount on that.
Has it gone down in price since then?
I will look that up for you now.
I'll talk in the meantime.
It has good reviews. It's not bad at all.
And that was what I was going to say about this one. It's not bad because I played the demo. I never bought it. And I was like, okay, this is cool. But honestly, what I wanted from the demo I got, and I didn't feel like I needed to get the full game. But I'm also not an avid Tetris fan or anything. I'm not familiar with Puyo Puyo at all. So this is just not a game for me, and I understand that. But yeah, it's sad that you didn't like it and you regret it since you did pay full price rent.
Yeah, and it's $40, and I think it was $40 always. So full full initial price, not necessarily full $60 price. But yeah, that's our list of games that we personally have regretted picking up on Switch in 2017. We have Snake Pass. We've got Binding of Isaac, Afterbirth Plus, Rogue Trooper, Sonic Forces, Yono and the Celestial Elephants, Lego City Undercover, and Puyo Puyo Tetris. I'm sure some of these games may in fact be some of your favorites, and that's okay. We want to know what games you regret buying, even if it's Mario Odyssey, even if it's Breath of the Wild. If you can tell us why, then we want to know. So let us know in the comments below. It's always interesting to see how everybody else is enjoying the library that the legendary Big N has produced. And until that time, everyone, thanks so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe to stay up to date on all the latest and greatest from Switch and its games library, including all of our end-of-the-year videos where we highlight and recap and remember the 2017 Switch launch period. Until that time, everybody, for myself and Gabe, thanks again. Switch Force, out.